Hey, Creataholics. Today, I'd like to talk about energy and intention. There's a great quote that I heard recently in my schooling that I've been going through where energy responds to intention. And to me, intention is an interesting thing because we have habits and we have intention. When you do something with intention, you're doing it with a consciousness. When you do something out of habit, you're doing it because it's a learned thing and you're not really conscious. Now, habits are good. We have millions of things that are firing and wiring on us all day long to keep us alive, and we just don't have the processing power to process everything at once. So we need habits. Habits are actually a really good thing. But habits and energy don't really gel together, but intention and energy does. So when we're doing something with intention, when we're making a choice to do something, the energy flows to that thing. Now, that intention could be going towards something that is not great. Like, say it's an addiction of some kind that has become a habit. Habits become an addiction, and you're giving that addiction this energy. Well, energy is going to keep flowing to that thing. You have to make it so what you intend to do is what's in alignment with you. An example in my life was I was for years and years and years playing weddings constantly because that's how I was making a living. Every weekend, I would get my saxophone out, and for 4 hours, I'd play weddings. Not the best way to spend your Saturday night, but that's how I paid the bills. Ever since I was 17 years old in college to 36. I mean, I've played thousands of weddings. And at one point, I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to figure out a way out. So I did, and it moved into touring, and then it moved into studio work. But I kept holding on to the weddings. I'm like, why can't you let go? Fear, obviously, anxious, worried about whether I'm going to pay the bills. And it got to the point where I was so resenting these weddings so much that I was like a jerk the day before. It took me a day to recover because I just hated it. And I realized that I was doing these weddings out of habit, not out of intention. And guess what was happening? I was giving these weddings all this energy. And guess what happened? I got more weddings. You can't give something intention, or attention like that and not expect to get more of it, right? It's like you have a partner and you love them and you give them love and you feel love in return. If you treat them poorly, you get treated poorly in return until they leave. It's like if you intentionally do something, energy flows to it, whatever that thing might be. And if it's not in alignment with you, then it's a completely different ballgame. So I had to consciously make the choice, which was so hard because it was such a habit to start turning down these weddings, turning down 300, 400, $500 here and there, and think to myself, like, well, where's that going to come from? I mean, I need this money to pay my mortgage. I've got a house, I've got bills. And it's so interesting when I started doing that and giving attention and intention to doing more recordings from the house, learning how to write sync music, learning how to write ads, and going in that direction and giving that attention. I got much better at that. And then I started getting attention from other people for that, and then getting work, which up leveled my income as well as my joy because I was doing something that's more creative, that was more in alignment rather than playing Signed Sealed Delivered for the 10,000th time. Nothing wrong with Signed Sealed Delivered. And here's the great thing. There is a 20-something-year-old who is getting married, who is maybe having a kid, who's just bought their first house, that when I said no, they came in and took that. They took that money. And I've talked about that in the past when something is not in alignment with you anymore. But they were probably overjoyed to have that work. And I, letting go of it, was able to move into a different position and allow this other person to move in this position that really benefited them. So it's all connected to me, and it's all in the universe. It's all there. But whatever we give intention to, it has the energy. So really pay attention in your life what you give time to. Like, do you give so much time and intention to Netflix? If you do, you're going to get more Netflix in your life. Whatever you give that energy to, you're going to get more of. If you start going to the gym and you start getting a routine, guess what happens? You start getting more energy to go to the gym more. At least that's my experience. But getting that first step is hard. I know it's hard. Running for me is the same way. I can get into a groove. Like when we get into a groove, that's just the energy moving in the direction it should. But we can get in a groove in a different direction too. We can get in a groove with eating habits. We can get in a groove with all these other things that might not be so great for us. Now, I do know that people have addictions, and I know from firsthand experience that that exists. But addictions typically come from bad habits that start and then move you into an addiction phase. So, really take an inventory of your life when it comes to where you put your attention and intention. In a future podcast, I want to bring the third thing into that, which is attitude. And there's a really amazing scientific article that I'm going to speak about. But first, I think it's important to say, where is my intention and where is my attention? Because what you're going to start seeing is more energy is going to start flowing to that thing. If you give a friend a lot of attention and intention of being with them, then you're going to see them more. You're going to hang out more. The conversations are going to get longer. They're going to get deeper until you say, this is not in alignment, or, something happens in life and they move or something like that. But what you give intention brings that energy. So go forth and find what you're giving intention to and what you want to give intention to, because that's where the energy's flowing. And until next time, peace and love. Thank you so much for listening. If you're new to meditation, experienced with meditation, or looking for a new one to add to your collection, go to creataholics.us to download my free custom meditation, A Glowing Heart. It'll guide you on a journey with handcrafted music to bring light and energy to our most valuable asset, our heart. Peace and love.